Hello, welcome everybody to this channel. My name is Janet. I'm working through the King James's Bible. Today I am working through Deuteronomy, the book of Deuteronomy, and I'm working through chapters 11, 12 and 13. And they're pretty bossy chapters, that's all I have to say. They are basically laying down all the laws, the rules and statutes that the Lord has been giving over the past few books. We've really been getting an understanding of what they are. I mean, Leviticus was the main book of rules. Then Numbers is kind of putting them all in order and getting them into place and reiterating still some of the rules. And now this Deuteronomy is really a recollection of Leviticus. It's like going over of them. So we begin chapter 11 with love and obey the Lord. That's the first thing. Keep his commandments. We must keep his commandments and you'll get all the land that he promised. Disobey and you will be cursed. These are the really strong warnings God is giving through Moses. Remember, Moses is giving this sermon in the book of Deuteronomy. He's standing to the younger generation and he's passing this knowledge on to them from what he has learned with being with the Israelites for 40 years out in the wilderness with God, with them, and learning as he's gone along. So Moses explains to this younger generation how their ancestors got to witness the Lord's greatness. They saw what happened when they ran away from the Egyptians. They escaped Pharaoh. He came chasing after them. The Red Sea was parted by the Lord so that they had a crossing through it. They couldn't believe it as they were going through there, and then suddenly they got to the other side, Pharaoh and his men chasing after them, and then the Lord just brought the sea to a closure and it killed Pharaoh and his soldiers. They also witnessed it again as there was a rebellion against God, and those people who were rebelling against him were swallowed up by the ground. Now these ancestors saw all of this. They have this in their minds. They are able to bestow this to their children. And because they have obeyed, now he is giving them this land. And he's giving them the land from the wilderness to Lebanon, from the river Euphrates to the utmost sea. It will all be your course. That's what he says. Now if you to worship other gods, you will see God's wrath. He will close the heavens and his anger will burn like fire, which it has many times before. So this means that the rain will stop. There will be no more rainfall and therefore the land will become infertile. And we end this very strong chapter with observe the commandments regularly. Keep God in your heart and teach his words to all of your children. That is how we close chapter 11. You have been told. So let's open chapter 12. Is that one going to be any lighter? I don't think so. Here we have, there is only one God to worship. Don't be worshipping any other gods. The Israelites are to follow all statutes and all judgments given by the Lord. They must not follow any other commandments but the 10 that was given by the Lord. And never worship any false gods. Never, never, never do this. Because if they are found worshipping other gods, they are to be destroyed, along with any carvings or statues or anything that was made that symbolized another god were to be completely destroyed. Any pagan followers are to be killed and burned. And then we go into the offerings. They are to be brought to the Lord's dwelling place where the Lord has resided himself. I mean, during the camping in the wilderness, it's the tabernacle. Where it will be in the promised land, we don't know, but he's referring that there will be this one dwelling place and all offerings will go there. So this includes burnt offerings, free will offerings, tithes, and any other special gifts. The Israelites are to give all their firstborn herds and flocks to the Lord, and to eat and celebrate in God's presence, knowing they are blessed. Now God, in doing all of this, following God, God is giving them the promised land. That's what he's doing for them. They are going to overthrow all their enemies, and then they are going to be able to rest in this land. And while living there, they must bring to God everything that He commands of them. And again, we go into that only offer in the place that the Lord has laid down to offer. So don't make any other godly place. There's only one place to bring your offerings, and this is the place God will decide is the place of worship. Now, the Israelites are allowed to kill other animals in other towns, but they are not to eat the blood of the animal because that is their life force. So that's not allowed, that is forbidden. And they must obey all the regulations that the Lord has given to them, or they'll be expelled from this promised land. They'll be thrown out. And we finish this chapter with saying, do not subtract or add anything to the commandments that have been laid down. They are not to be altered in any way. They are set in stone, which is where that phrase comes from. When we use that a lot in today's language, nope, this is set in stone, knowing there can be no changes made to it. Okay, have you had enough rules? Because we're going in for a third round in chapter 13. Here we cover no dreamers and no prophets allowed. And the people, the Israelites, are going to be tested to make sure that they love their God. So watch out. They must obey their God and follow His commands. It's constantly coming through, constantly. Now these dreamers or prophets, whether they be among the town or if there's somebody close to you, their sentence is death. They should not be obeying anybody but the Lord. So anybody found doing this is to be killed. And that is to be done by stoning them publicly to death. This is to show the rest of the Israelites what happens if they go against the Lord. It's like to fear them into never doing this again. And any prophets and anything like that has to be completely flushed out of the community. Now, should they find any towns worshipping other gods, so in this promised land, if a town is found to suddenly be creating its own god, they have to investigate first and make sure that this is the case, and if so, they will all die by the sword. And this isn't just the people, this is all the livestock too. And then that loot that they have gathered from that town is then to be brought to the Lord as a burnt offering. And that town is never to be reconstructed again. It is to be left as a ruin. It's almost that again is another sign of what comes if you decide to worship another god. And if the Israelites do this, then this will calm the Lord and He will have mercy. He will also have compassion and He will increase their numbers just as He promised to their ancestors, Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. And we end these 3 chapters with the final saying, keep God's commandments and always do as the Lord says. So that's it. 3 strong chapters. I can feel the wrath of God, as He's expelling these through Moses, who is then passing them down to this younger generation, giving them this sort of shudder through their whole bodies as they are going to be approaching into this land. They clearly know what is to be expected of them once they step into that place. So, there you have it. So I'll leave them with you and see you again soon. Thanks for being here. Take care. Bye.